Women in Leadership, brought to you by Heroncode, the management consultancy for what happens next. For more information, you can visit heroncode.com. Welcome back to another episode of the Heroncode Women and Leadership podcast. Look, this episode is super exciting. We're switching things up because for the first time, we are bringing back a guest from season 1. We are joined by Esraa Sharief, who is the first and youngest female to ever be in top management within IKEA, Saudi and Bahrain. She's also recently been recognized by the Economic Times as one of the top 50 most iconic and influential HR leaders in the Middle East. On top of that, being recognized by Business Chief magazine to be one of the top 10 HR female leaders in Saudi. Esra, welcome back to the Heroncode podcast.
Hi.
How are you?
It's so good to be back. It's so good to see you, Nimi. A lot of things has changed. A lot of great and amazing things has happened also for yourself. And it's so good to see you again. It's so good to be here.
You know, it was as soon as I heard you were going to be on season 2, I was thrilled because I've seen your journey and we follow each other on socials, on LinkedIn, on everything.
Yeah.
It's so amazing to see someone's journey excel in such a short amount of time. So for those of you who don't know much about Esra, I'd love for you to just give us a quick synopsis. I mean, they could go back to season 1 and listen to our episode because I think that would be an amazing episode for you all to listen to. But Esra, for you, the youngest female to ever be in top management within IKEA, Saudi and Bahrain, that did not happen overnight. Can you quickly just give us an idea? I mean, I'm asking for a lot right now, but how did that happen?
It happened by persistence. So we spoke a lot about that in season 1. There's a full episode about it in details. So I urge everybody if they're interested to see it. But I think if I want to summarize that, I think it's persistent. I think it's believe that it's possible, that you can do it. And I think it's consistency. That is what I think is how it gets done. In my journey, when I reflect back, I always say that, yes, all of that also worked for me, but I also think I was lucky. I think I was always in the right time with the right people at the right place. And that also helped a lot in my movements in my career. A lot of reflection has happened since our last episode, especially with all the things that has been happening with me. Like so many things has happened in 8 to 9 months, and there's a lot of reflections that I've been having ever since about really what are considered to be the key success. And
let's dig into that because I've said it in your introduction, but I'll say it again. Recognized by the Economic Times as the top HR leaders in the Middle East, and then the top 10 female HR leaders in Saudi by Business Chief magazine. We've spoken about the recipe to success. Now you've had time to reflect on all these incredible accolades the last 8 to 9 months. What have you come to fruition in your mind as to the last 8 to 9 months, and do you believe there is a recipe to your success?
Absolutely. Before I share with you my recipe of success, I want to say one thing which is extremely important for all the listeners. I think one of the things that people always do is that they think there is one size fits all kind of recipe. What I'm about to share with you are my recipe of success. When I sat down and I thought about it, I only thought about it when I was asked the question. I never had a blueprint that told me that was the recipe. I had to learn it my way, in my own journey. And that was mine. It was my journey. It could work. I think it could work with other people. But if it doesn't, it's okay. Everyone is entitled to have their own recipe of success. Mine has been working beautifully for me. When I sat down and I wrote them down, they were 10. So there were 10 points, which I believe were my recipe of success. I will tell you about number 1. I think the first recipe of success is having the right intentions. Always. That's number 1 for me. The intention to be able to do whatever it is to give back. The intention to do whatever is best for your surrounding, for whoever is around you. And that can be anything, and it can be as big as the world. But so long you have that intention, that's your first starting point. And then everything comes after that. that was me. So I've always, when I reflect back, I think I've always wanted to do what's best for people around me. That was my intention.
And where does that service come from? Because it is an active service to not just your community, your business community, your personal community. Where did that come from within you?
To be honest, I really don't know. I think it's a human instinct. I think I didn't create it. I feel every human being is born with that instinct. We all have that love to give. Now, if others don't do it, they have their different reasons. But we're born to give. We're born to provide. We're born to benefit others. And if you really go outside a little bit and look at the world, you'll always find that someone is benefiting another someone, or a group of people, or an organization, or a country. There is always a benefit that's coming out. And I believe that's the pure reason of our existence. I should have the intention to do that. So yes, I'm born with it, but I should intend and want to intend that I want to do this for the people. This was my number one. My number two, and I get asked a lot about that as well, which is have a purpose. And now I know a lot of people who are listening to me right now, they're going to tell me, but I don't have one, or I really don't know what's mine. Create one. Create one. Even if you don't have one, create a temporary one. Have something for the time being, something that could keep you going, because that will help you unfold another purpose. So have a purpose, because that's our drive in life. Number three, know what you want. And that is step three, because once you know what you want, however the dreams are big and you feel the road is long, when you know what you want, you can always do it in smaller steps until you reach. And one day you'll find yourself there and you don't even know how did you do it, but you know exactly what you want. You have to be precise, very specific to the amount that you can imagine yourself in that situation that you dream to be in. And that is extremely important. Number four, and that's my favorite. Actually, they're all my favorite. I'll take that back. Number four is modesty. And when I say modesty, I mean crushing every bit of ego that anyone has. And I'll tell you what's my sanity check when it comes to modesty. And I've learned that's the hard way. I mean, from our last episode. When we talk about modesty, my sanity check is to remind myself whenever I get anything, such as this recognition that I'm grateful for, that nothing belongs to me. That everything I have and everything I own, I don't really own. I'm grateful for it, but I don't own it. And I can challenge every person today that everything they have today doesn't belong to them. And be it your car, be it your clothes, be it your house, sometime it's going to go away. It can go away. And when you remind yourself that you only have yourself at the end of the day, that keeps you grounded and modest. Which takes me to the fifth one, curiosity. When you're modest, you can be curious. You cannot be curious if you're not modest. Curiosity means I have to go around, do whatever it takes to learn. Whatever opportunity comes on my table, I shouldn't say no to it. I shouldn't say that's not my job, or I'm okay with just knowing this, or I'm lazy to know. I think whatever question you have, be curious to find out. Learn it. Ask, watch, study, learn, read, and do whatever it takes for you to take the highest level of knowledge at something. And after that, I would say consistency. Consistency is extremely important because we often get tired. We all wake up in the morning that day, and we all feel at that point that I don't feel like it. And maybe that day is the day you're that close to your dream. And you have to be consistent. Take a break. It's fine. But be consistent. And don't get tired. Because it is the big dream. So be consistent. If you wake up at 7 a.m., wake up at 7 a.m. every day. I actually learned, the first lesson I learned about consistency was to do my bed. Because I never did my bed.
Because it kind of sets the tone for the day, doesn't it? It's the first movement of discipline of the day.
Absolutely. I told myself I'm going to do this for 30 days. And today, if you tell me, can you go anywhere before you do your bed when you wake up? Absolutely not. The moment I open my eyes, I have some rituals before I get out of bed. But then the moment I set my feet on the floor, I do my bed. It becomes a habit. Second nature. So that's what the consistency does. After that, I would say create a balance. Because you cannot be consistent all the time working. You also need to be consistent with the right balance. And that's why it comes next. You need to, I spoke about that about one of my podcasts when I talked about well-being and mental health.
Yeah.
So for you to create the balance, you need to have a very balanced wheel of life. When it comes to your, wheel of life, for people who don't know what wheel of life is it's talking about family, talking about relationships, talking about work, money, health, spiritual.
Yeah.
So that's a wheel of life. And creating an imbalance of any of that could harm your dream. So make sure you have a sanity check about your balance. Draw a life that creates that balance for you. So consistency can also become easy. After that, I would say find a mentor and a coach. Mentor/coach, they're two different things, but find someone. And I say that openly. I have my own mentors in different topics, and I have my own coaches in different topics in my career and my personal life. They help me a lot to stay present, to focus, to direct me. I cannot do things on my own. And anyone who says they can do it on their own, if they did, it's short term. You need the help. We all need the help. We all need the support. There is no shame in that. Go ask for it. The ninth one, I would say being grateful and having gratitude. When you're grateful, and it means that you're celebrating the small things before the big things. It means that if you have nothing or you have everything, then you are happy. I'm going to say a verse from the Quran that I truly believe in. It's my motto. If you are thankful, I shall give you more. And I think that's in Islam, but I also think it's a universal law. To be grateful. To be able to have gratitude and thank and be grateful about every little thing. The water you drink. I'm so grateful I'm sitting in front of you today. I don't know what I've done to be able to be with you here today. But I'm grateful, and I should feel that way. I'm grateful that I've seen you again. The last one for me, I think that is my favorite.
Here we go. You left the best to last.
Yes. Believe that there is some greater force is taking care of everything. To me, that's Allah. That's to me.
And you know what I've loved about everything that you shared is that I know we started off saying it's not a one-size-fits-all thing, but what people can use from every single point that you've just made, serving others with intent, purpose, what do you want, modesty, curiosity, consistency, balance, mentors, gratitude, and belief, right? What people can do is use those in their guided meditations, in their journals, whatever they want to do, and create their own subheadings and subtitles and whatever comes after that. Because yours is different to what mine would be, and so on and so forth. You're not saying that this is the recipe to success for everyone. It's just something that has worked incredibly for you.
Yes.
And for you to sit down and also reflect on an amazing last 9 months. A lot of people don't do that. You know, years go by because everything's in autopilot. Everything's moving so quickly. Things are changing so quickly that they don't take a moment to stop and look back. So apart from this question being asked to you, kind of forcing you to reflect, is that a habit that you now want to ensure that you take on moving forward?
100%. It's engraved in me to reflect. I reflect all the time. Sometimes I want to stop. You know what? You reach a point where you're reflecting on the spot. You reach a point where you see a pattern and then you're like, I'm living it at the moment. But I encourage everybody to do a reflection every day before they sleep.
I think what's amazing is that you and I speak on social media and we encourage each other so much. We literally support each other all 100%. The time. And I love that. And I think that it's so important to surround yourself with people that encourage this brightness, this light, this serving others, this intent, everything that you had just gone through. Because sometimes I do find myself dropping levels on these kind of things. And the way I am able to bring those levels up is by talking to people like you, you know, is having these conversations with people, whether it's your best friends around a coffee table, whether it's in a business meeting, just having one small interaction can change the scope of my day. How important is it for people to seek others with the same mentality?
You know, I heard once, you are the 5 people you spend your time with. I have to say that it's 100% accurate. When I find myself surrounding myself with people who might not be in the same wavelength as I am, I often saw myself dropping in the things that I wanted. And immediately after I understood that equation, I went into my social media and I started looking at the people I'm following, even the public figures. Who do I really want to be inspired by? Who do I really respect and trust and aspire to be halfway where they are? That's the first thing I did. Second thing, I looked at my school, my circle of friends. The most people I spend my time with. And that was it. I had to cut people off. Not entirely, not completely, but I had to do some regulating in my relationships. So I still have those people in my life, but I created a rich relationship with people that I truly aspire to be like. Or at least I know that I will benefit from them in at least one area of my life, or at least one cycle of my life. You know, within that circle. Now I'm following people who are experts in health because I want to be a healthy person. I used to not be a healthy person. I ate junk food all the time. And now I want to be a healthy person. So I started following all these health experts. I know that I love Nimi's public speaking skills. You're an amazing communicator. You think I haven't learned from you the past few months. I was watching you and I learned a lot from you. The vibe, the energy, the way you stand and the way you speak. That's only by me following you and consistently looking at the things that you're doing. And that applies on everything in life. The books you read, the movies you watch, the shows you invest time in, every little thing that you do will is an investment. So whatever you're investing in, what is the return of investment that's coming back to you?
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
That's so well said, because what's interesting about that is, you know, when, I don't know, Oprah releases a huge interview with Harry and Meghan, for example, when that came out.
Yeah.
For me, everyone was watching Harry and Meghan, but I was watching Oprah. And it made me even more clear that whoever I want, like, seek out the people you want to be like.
Exactly.
Study them meticulously.
Yeah.
And you might not take on all of their, you know, traits or the ways that they do things. Pick the best of everyone, and then you will learn and you will create your own kind of groove with it.
Yeah.
And one thing you touched on was mentors.
Yeah.
And that is so important. You yourself are an individual that people look up to. They aspire, you know, to get the accolades that you have been getting. Now, for those seeking to get mentors, I think when we say get mentors, what does that actually mean? Can you break that down for me? So if I see someone that I would love for them to be my mentor, how do I go about getting to them and making it into a relationship where it's beneficial in that sense?
Yeah. So mentors are usually subject matter experts in something that you want to develop in. Let's say, for instance, I'm getting my coaching license from ICF, so I'm studying that as well. I've got part of the certificate. I'm working on my other certificate. And then I saw a conference that I really liked. And I saw the number one coach is going to be there. There is some people from ICF are going to be there. I looked at the attendees. I went there and I was a speaker at that conference, and I made sure that I network with these people. So I had an intention, right? I go there with setting that intention, and then all of a sudden I get an invitation to be part of a smaller group of professionals amongst all these super duper coaches and the ICF, some of the ICF members, key members. So I immediately had their contacts and showed interest, and they were very open to become my mentors. So there is not one way of doing it, but it's putting yourself out there to where you want to learn. So that worked for me in that one way. Other way could be that there is an organization or institute that you can sign up for, and then let's say you want to learn certain things in a certain way, and there are mentors that can help you. But if there's a specific mentor that you want, go and ask the mentor. And there, you know, social media made it so much easy.
Yeah.
Everybody is like a text away. LinkedIn as well. I mean, I still don't see myself as the mentor. Maybe to the youth, yes. So they come to me and but they approach me. I get texts on LinkedIn telling me, we want your advice on how can I get a job, or how can I present myself very well in an interview, or some people I don't even know. Most of them I don't know. They shared their CVs with me, telling me, what do you think of my profile? And that's mentorship. If I give her 1 hour of my time, or I give him 1 hour of my time, that's mentorship. If there's somebody who's a guru in communication, and I want to learn how to become a better communicator, I will text him and I'll tell him, hey, look, I've seen the way that you're communicating. Love it. Can you please be my mentor? I'll pay for it. And people, usually, the gurus, they love to give.
Yeah.
But people are afraid to ask. But there are mentors everywhere around us.
And you're so right. We live in such a small world now.
Yeah.
It's literally a click away.
Yeah.
There is no excuse. The worst that could happen is they don't reply, or they reply with a no. At least you've tried.
Yes.
And you move on and try a different avenue.
Yeah.
One thing that is so consistent with you, Esra, from when I first met you, through all of your content, through now sitting in front of you today, is this light and ray of positivity. And it's the most beautiful thing about you, because everyone has their trials and tribulations. Everyone has the challenges and the tough sides of their journey. And you know, what you spoke about of the consistency and the balance and the gratitude and the belief, it's so poignant for the world that we live in right now. But I think it's also important to know that it's okay to not be okay, especially in the business space. And from you being a human, you have these moments as well, I'm sure. And I would love for you to share with us how you overcome these moments and redirect them to positivity.
Great. I love the question. I love it. So, as you said, I'm human, so I go through ups and downs. And I do go through very difficult times. I think the first thing is having self-awareness about what's happening to yourself when you're in the moment. And that cannot happen without you, again, having help, to have a coach. I have my own coach, my own mental health coach. And I'm not ashamed to say that I go to her when I need her. Mm-hmm. And I've learned to do things differently. I've learned to understand my emotions very well. I learn why I feel the way I feel in the moment, not after the fact. And once I learned how to regulate my nervous system, and there are different ways to do that, I catch the pattern and I speak to it. Why are you feeling the way you're feeling? Is it something from the past? Is this real? Is it really that bad? Do you have a solution for it? Can we park it for now if you don't have the solution for it? That's number one. Mm-hmm. So the help with a coach, regulating your nervous system, speaking to yourself like you're two humans. Mm-hmm. There is the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So the conscious mind will speak to my subconscious mind. Second thing is to be present. The amount of things that you can park later and then go back to it is enormous. Imagine if I'm speaking to you at this moment, thinking about what, the plane that I have just almost gonna miss before coming to you, and the fact that I have another flight coming, and that there's so much things are waiting for me when I go home. I wouldn't be present with you at the moment. So let's handle everything when it comes. Mm-hmm. So being present is very, very important. I think the third thing is to have very positive affirmations. I changed the way I look at myself just by positive affirmations. I asked myself, how do I want to see myself? And I wrote those positive affirmations. And it doesn't have to be like in a fancy way. Mm-hmm. I could say it when I first wake up. I'm closing my eyes. I didn't open it yet. Mm-hmm. And I'll say, today is a great day. It's going to be a great day. Mm-hmm. If I look at myself in the mirror, you look good today. Even during bad hair day, today is a good hair day.
Yeah.
And so it's positive affirmations. Sometimes I'm just sitting in a meeting and I'm telling myself, speaking to myself positively. Last but not least, and I think this is what keeps people maybe not positive. I mentioned that, which is gratitude. Mm-hmm. The more you have gratitude and the more you're grateful, the more you will learn to be okay. When you look at the worst case scenario that ever happened to you, you'll know that it was also your best case scenario. And that's part of the regulation as well of your mind. So I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for the good. I'm grateful for the bad, because also the bad will unfold the good. Mm-hmm. And so I have to be in a consistent, grateful manner. Something I also do when I'm not here and now, I meditate or I pray. And that's what I said about being present. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are different ways of being present, but meditation has very strong way of, being able to resonate with yourself. So there is praying or meditation. And that works for me a lot. Just for 10 minutes. Just for 10 minutes. So this is what I would say, staying positive.
It really recenters you. It brings you back to your body, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think what's interesting is we've now tackled how to regulate your own emotions, but as a leader, there's a lot of pressure to kind of regulate your emotions and then consider others' emotions at the same time.
Yeah.
This is something I'm sure you handle on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
How does one do that as a leader, no matter what industry they're in? We've gone through regulating their emotions. They're aware, they're present, they've brought themselves back to their body. Now they've got to take on other people's emotions. Where does that come into play? And how do you deal with that?
So that's why not everybody can be a leader. It's not the job for everyone. And that's a blessing, not to have this job for everyone. It's a natural thing for a leader, a true leader, to be able to be considerate about managing his or her emotions and others, or else they're in the wrong role. But that can't happen if the leader doesn't know how to regulate his or her own emotions. I mentioned so many things. If those things, I'll talk about me, I don't do, then I will not be able to give. If I don't have the right balance, if I don't have the right purpose, if I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing, if I don't have gratitude, if I don't stay in the present, all those things I mentioned, if I don't do that to myself and I keep myself in a sane situation and have a healthy mental state, then how can I be able to take on others? It's a responsibility that a leader should take care of themselves to be able to take care of others. And if there were days that you can't do it, take a break. You are not a machine and you're not expected to do this all the time. You need to take a break. And that's what I meant by balance. So create that balance. And then I think everything comes naturally. You don't always have to do it, but you need to do it for yourself for you to be able to do it for others. And then take a break every once in a while. Because naturally, no matter how much you regulate yourself, if you take on so much and you don't take a break, you break.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think is, that's what I personally feel it works.
If you're not your best, how can you give your best to others?
Exactly.
Esra, I am so happy we got to have another conversation. It's only been 9 months since our last one and so much has happened. I feel like we're going to have to get you back for season 3.
My pleasure.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode.
Loved it.
I mean, we could talk for hours.
Yes.
But we'll just have to get you back next season. You've flown especially from Saudi to be here with us today.
Yes.
Esra Sharif, thank you so much. We wish you the best in all that you do in the coming months and years. We will catch up very, very soon. Thank you once again.
Thanks a lot, Nimi. And this was amazing.
I'm so happy you enjoyed.
Loved it.
Women in Leadership brought to you by Heroncode, the management consultancy for what happens next. For more information, you can visit heroncode.com.